It has been a fine season for creators across Europe's top 5 leagues. In England, Kevin De Bruyne made a whopping 20 Premier League assists, the joint most along with Thierry Henry in 2002-03 since records began. In Spain, it was that man again, Lionel Messi, who topped the La Liga assist charts as he does virtually every season, setting up 21 goals in total. And in Germany, Thomas Müller had one of the most outstanding seasons of his career, only scoring 8 league goals, but turning provider on 21 occasions, meaning he had the most assists in the Bundesliga and is tied with Messi across Europe's top 5 leagues. Between them, those 3 players made 62 assists in the league alone this season, so you could be forgiven for thinking that any half-decent creative player must have at least a handful of assists. After all, even centre-backs like Harry Maguire and Çağlar Söyüncü have notched at least 1 assist in the league this term. Well, if you're anything like me, you may be in for a surprise, since there's a pretty extensive array of midfield and attacking talent without a single league assist this season. I've come up with a 7 that are arguably amongst the most surprising, but I will rattle off many more with the honourable mentions between first and second place. I only looked at fullbacks, midfielders and forwards, and specifically those who you would expect to create at least the odd goal. So there'll be no Sergio Ramos, who actually didn't make a single La Liga assist this season, despite scoring 11 league goals. Without further ado then, here are 7 players from Europe's top 5 leagues without a single league assist this season. Rodrigo. Starting in the Spanish capital of Madrid, I should point out that I also took the number of league games each player had played this season into account, since it wouldn't be that surprising that someone who has been injured all season hasn't made an assist. That is why Real Madrid wide man Rodrigo only comes in at 7th, since he only made 19 La Liga appearances this season and only 12 of those were starts. Nevertheless, that is a similar amount of football to fellow La Liga prospects Ansu Fati and Vinicius Jr., both of whom notched at least 1 league assist this season, and personally, I found Rodrigo's blank to be somewhat of a surprise. An incredibly gifted young winger, Rodrigo is still only 19, and despite his lack of La Liga assists, I still think he's a terrific prospect. Whilst he has only scored 2 goals from 19 games in La Liga this season as well, his record in terms of both goals and assists in the Champions League is rather different, where the teenager has scored 4 goals and made 2 assists from just 4 appearances and only 3 starts, thanks primarily to the perfect hat-trick that he scored in the group stages against Galatasaray. Jesse Lingard. It's been a tough old season for Jesse Lingard, especially in the Premier League, where his only goal contribution came in the final game of the season when his willingness and hard work forced a mistake from Kasper Schmeichel, allowing Lingard to pass the ball into the back of an unguarded net. Lingard has played an almost identical number of minutes to Rodrigo this season, but despite the long-running jokes on social media, unlike the Real Madrid man, Lingard is no longer a prospect, now aged 27. Lingard made 22 Premier League appearances this season, starting 9 games, but he made no assists and scored only that 1 aforementioned goal, ruining one fan's final day as he had put a bet on the England international failing to score or assist in the league all season at odds of 41-1. Lingard did make more of a contribution in the Europa League, where he scored 1 and made 1 from only 4 appearances and just 3 starts. Lingard's best season in terms of both goals and assists was the 2017-18 campaign, in which he scored 8 goals and made 5 assists from only 20 league starts and 33 Premier League appearances in total. Unfortunately, Lingard hasn't been able to build upon that in the last 2 seasons, and he is now being linked with Everton in what seems like the most predictable transfer of all time, rivaled only by a potential move to West Ham. NIANG. The top 5 in this 7 are pretty mind-boggling, at least in my opinion, starting with Rennes forward NIANG. Capable of playing out wide or through the middle, Niang has spent the vast majority of this season playing as Rennes' first-choice centre-forward, and he's had a pretty decent campaign. Following 14 goals in all competitions last season, Niang netted 15 times this term, with 10 of those strikes coming in just 24 starts in Ligue 1. The former Watford loanee, who AC Milan once had high hopes for in his early years, has had 1 or 2 off-field indiscretions over the years, including crashing his Ferrari into a tree and allegedly leaving 11 people injured in a hit-and-run incident whilst on loan at Montpellier. Niang seems to be concentrating more on his football these days, and the 25-year-old was the 10th highest scorer in Ligue 1 for Rennes before the season was brought to an abrupt end, with his team in 3rd place. Despite scoring a good number of goals, Niang hasn't recorded a single assist this season in any competition. That's surprising, given that Niang isn't just a cold-blooded goal-getter, and it's doubly surprising given the fact that he made 6 assists last season. Jordan Veretout. We have 2 former Premier League players in quick succession, as Jordan Veretout follows Niang. VERETOUT spent just a single season in the Premier League, where he suffered relegation at Aston Villa before being sent out on loan to St Etienne and subsequently signing for Fiorentina on a permanent basis in 2017. The 27-year-old is still contracted to Fiorentina, but he has spent this season on loan with Serie A rivals Roma. VERETOUT has been excellent since leaving Aston Villa, and this season has been no exception. Capable of playing in either a creative deep-lying role or as a box-to-box player, VERETOUT has a terrific work rate, he's a good crosser and passer of ball, and he can be a threat from set pieces. This season, VERETOUT has been an important player for 5th place Roma, making 33 Serie A appearances. He has scored 6 goals from those 33 outings, but for a reasonably creative, albeit fairly deep-lying midfielder, I must admit I was surprised to see that he hasn't recorded a single Serie A assist. VERETOUT has registered 1 assist in the Europa League, as well as a goal, taking his overall tally up to 7 goals and 1 assist in all competitions this season. Saul Niguez. Atletico Madrid's Saul Niguez is quite possibly the most versatile and well-rounded footballer on earth right now, and just this season, he has played in central midfield, on the left wing, the right wing, at left back, attacking midfield, and in defensive midfield. The vast majority of Saul's 35 La Liga and 8 Champions League appearances this season have come in central midfield, where he often looks to break ranks, running with the ball, and trying to play an incisive through ball. It's for that reason that I have to say I'm pretty amazed that Saul doesn't have a single assist in either La Liga or the Champions League this season. Of course, Atletico are not the most prolific team under Diego Simeone, in fact their goal-scoring record is wretched when compared to Real Madrid and Barcelona's, and others will claim that Saul's primary duty on a football pitch isn't to create goals. That may be true of a number of players in this 7, none of whom necessarily ought to be hitting double figures for assists, but none is pretty surprising. I mean, Cesar Azpilicueta's primary role isn't to create goals, but he's still notched 6 assists in the Premier League this season. Anyhow, Saul has never been an assist king, but this is the first time in 6 seasons that the 25-year-old hasn't recorded a single La Liga assist, so I think he's a worthy inclusion in 3rd place. Georginio Wijnaldum. The man who inspired this 7 in many respects, since I recently saw a tweet about the fact that he hadn't made a single assist in not 1, but 2 seasons now. I mean, that really is impressive, or impressively bad I suppose. Yet again, people will point out that the bulk of Liverpool's creativity doesn't come via their midfield 3, it comes via their 2 fullbacks and actually their centre forward, and that is all true. However, no assists, not a single one in 2 seasons in all competitions for both club and country. I'm not saying that Gini Wijnaldum isn't a good footballer, far from it, and clearly his lack of assists didn't trouble Liverpool this season or last, as they enjoyed spectacular seasons, but it's still quite something. Wijnaldum has now played over 100 games for Liverpool and the Netherlands without recording a single assist, which seems like an achievement that would actually take some doing and require deliberately trying not to pass to someone like Mohamed Salah or Sadio Mane on the off chance that they accidentally scored and ruined your record. Wijnaldum's record is reflective of the way in which his role has changed under Jurgen Klopp, given that he made 9 assists in his first season at Anfield in the Premier League alone, but still none in 2 seasons in all competitions at club and international level. As you can tell, I was quite shocked by that, so the Dutchman takes 2nd place. Honourable mentions. Put simply, there are loads of players without an assist in Europe's top 5 leagues that I found at least mildly surprising. When I was planning this 7, I thought it was going to be pretty tough, but the difficulty in actual fact was whittling it down to just the 7 most surprising examples. As such, I thought I'd give you some honourable mentions, so here goes. N'Golo Kante, Fred, Luke Shaw, Jack Cork, Harry Winks, Alex Iwobi, Harry Wilson, Tom Davies, also known as me, Roberto Pereira, Lewis Cook, Thomas Partey, Pablo Hervé, Franco Vázquez, Nemanja Gudel, Suet Serdar, Arkadiusz Milik, Cengiz Under, Gianluca Lapadula, and Dario Benedetto. Yes, that is right, not a single league assist between the lot of them and this entire 7. Old Harry Maguire, yes, Slabhead himself, has more assists than every player in this video and the honourable mentions combined in Europe's top 5 leagues this season. And whilst you're just letting that sink in, here is your top spot. Thiago Alcantara. A man who is heavily linked with the move to Liverpool right now, Thiago Alcantara is one of the most gifted, elegant and enjoyable footballers to watch in the world game. Silky in possession and so precise in the pass, Thiago makes switching the ball to the opposite flank into an art form, as any of you who saw a gif of his half-volleyed through ball a couple of months back will be well aware. You can probably count the number of players who are better passers of the ball and who have better vision than Thiago right now on one hand, which is why it is really remarkable that he hasn't recorded a single assist in the Bundesliga this season as Bayern Munich won yet another league title. Admittedly, again, most of Thiago's game time has come in holding midfield, picking passes, dictating the tempo of the game, and more often than not, assisting the assister, so to speak, a contribution that doesn't really show up in the statistics. That would explain Thiago not having many assists, a little like Paul Scholes in the latter stages of his career, but no assists? That shocked me. Albeit, Thiago was limited to just 24 Bundesliga appearances this season and only 20 starts. Nevertheless, he made 6 assists last season, and that's around the number that I would expect from him even whilst playing very deep. Anyhow, that's it from me for today folks, but I hope you enjoyed today's video and found some of the names surprising like me, or at least somewhat entertaining. Hit the like button if you did, let me know your thoughts in the comments as always, and go ahead and subscribe to HITC Sevens. And if you're really keen on the channel, follow me on @HITC Sevens on either Twitter, Instagram, or of course both.